Hey guys, Dave and Len here. We just played Redline Korea. This is a Joe Miranda game from the issue number 6, April 1995 of Gamefix Magazine. It's essentially a what-if game where there's a conflict between Korea and the UN in modern times. I thought the game was pretty decent, but the rule book, the order they had stuff in, it was kind of not logical, so the rule book I didn't particularly like. Actually, I didn't like the rule book at all. However, the rules are okay. The rules are essentially just standard war game rules, and you have 3 different combat results tables, and you choose which one you want to use. And then there's air power rules, and the communists have barrages and stuff. What'd you think of it, Len?
Okay, very simple and playable, and it's easy to get into. And actually, it found out surprisingly that the North Koreans won by a point, but that means it's a draw. And we figured that at that point in the game, the North Korean forces had been broken and pushed back, and he captured a few cities. And the end result, the international community put pressure. China may have threatened to intervene if we didn't retreat. And at that point, we had beat the North Korean army had lost like 90% of its units. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, it's going to take them probably a decade to rebuild.
Yeah.
So it's like we taught them the lesson, because remember, they attacked. Mm-hmm. So because with the point system, even though my units were being pushed back, I stayed in the game because I knew I might win on points.
Yeah, I was playing the, I don't know if you call them NATO, actually you call them UN forces. I should have won the game. Where I screwed up is in 2 places. The first, I've only played this game twice, and I finally figured out how the air works. And then in this game, where I screwed up is I was doing close air support and stuff with my aircraft. What I should have been doing in the beginning of the game was air superiority, because it would reduce his air defense level. So I lost a ton of air units because I didn't bother reducing his air defense level. So if you play this, definitely do the air superiority in the beginning. And the other thing I messed up on, there's about 10 different things the UN can do for victory points. And at the end of the game, I forgot that if you occupy any North Korean cities, you get points for that. So the only one I was occupying at the end was Pyongyang, but I had all these other loose units that could have occupied like another 4 or 5 cities, and I would have, instead of having 66 points at the end, I probably would have had like 71. I had 66, he had 67, but I think even with that difference, it still would have been considered a draw, wouldn't it have?
Yeah, I think it was up to 6 points, or
yeah.
Then it doesn't have been marginal victory, but still.
Yeah, in this magazine, there's not much articles, only a few, but I read one from the editor. I think his name's John Compton. He mentioned that their games are essentially micro games, and I agree with that. These are like magazine games that are micro games. I've only played 2 or 3 from Gamefix, and they were all pretty simple and easy to learn and stuff. So yeah, I'd qualify them as micro games. But yeah, do I recommend this? Oh, definitely. Because, I mean, you can pick up a copy of this for $15, maybe even a little bit less, unpunched. So, I mean, it's pretty rare you find a board game, or any kind of board game you can get for $15 or less. You recommend?
Yes.
All right, guys, we'll have a new review for you next weekend. Have a good evening.